Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Friday. We made it. The weekend is just around the corner. I'm going to get you into the weekend with an incredible show. With an incredible show this Friday. We're going to roll into the weekend. It's going to be awesome. Steve Kim's going to join me. I think Steve's in Las Vegas for a fight, but he's going to join us. We'll talk a little bit with Steve Kim about Pascal Siakam and Greg Doyel, the Indianapolis Star columnist. A video, an old resurfaced or newly surfaced video of LeBron James getting dunked on. It's some video that got removed, or LeBron's team got removed because it was embarrassing for LeBron. Well, now it's resurfaced. We'll ask Steve Kim, big deal, little deal, or no deal. I'll end the show. Buckle your seats. I'll end today's show praising Angel Reese. I'm going to start today's show, though, talking about my favorite topic, Caitlin Clark. And I can hear the groans from you that have a different sort of Caitlin Clark derangement. Why you keep talking? No one cares about the WNBA. Quit talking about it, Whitlock. Well, I'm going to explain to you why I continue to talk about it, why I'm right about continuing to talk about it, and why you're wrong and you're being delusional and you're acting like a woman here in a second. I will explain all of that here in a second. But before I do anything, I want to thank CB Distillery. I want to thank them for the better nights of sleep I've gotten in the past 2 weeks. If you're still tossing and turning all night and feeling edgy during the day, let me tell you about CBD from CB Distillery. Millions are turning to their CBD for relief because it works. In fact, more than 90% of the customers report better sleep with CBD. And it's not just sleep. CB Distillery offers targeted formulations for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood, focus, pain, after exercise. They even have CBD for your pet. And it's all made with the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. After a long night, I love taking these sleep gummies from CB Distillery. They help me feel fully rested and ready for the day ahead. And with more than 2 million satisfied customers and 100% money back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. If you're struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns and haven't found relief, make the change like millions are to CBD from CB Distillery. And for a limited time, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery and use the promo code FEARLESS. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code FEARLESS. cbdistillery.com, promo code FEARLESS. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. Guys, used it this week. I was out late, had a dinner, needed to make sure that I got a good night's sleep. Chewed a couple of gummies before I went to bed, got a good night's sleep. Here I am all week, functioning at a high level, and we're going to top it all off today by talking about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. And we're going to talk about, my theme for today is how we've gone from suffrage to the suffer age. We're all suffering because of suffrage. And Caitlin Clark and what's going on in the WNBA is a way to help explain to you all what's actually going on in American and global culture. And because America is the worldwide leader, our suffrage and our suffering and our empowerment of women and our delusion, this false narrative of men and women, they're just alike. And, you know, there's no difference. And look, we can put women in combat. We can put women in all sorts of positions of leadership. And the character and nature and the righteousness and the truth of America won't change at all. Won't change at all. And so I don't watch the WNBA. Quit talking about it, Whitlock. First of all, you're lying to yourself. I'm not saying that you particularly watch the WNBA, But since Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA, you'd have to be lying to yourself to believe that people aren't watching the WNBA, that sports fans aren't watching the WNBA, that Caitlin Clark isn't the biggest sports star, individual sports star in America since the rise of Tiger Woods. You're lying to yourself. Oh, Whitlock's exaggerating, blah, blah, blah. No, you're lying to yourself. The biggest star in American sports is Caitlin Clark. And I've made my bones talking about sports, and I've made my bones taking what's happening in sports and using it as a launching pad, a platform to explain what's happening in America. So for those of you that hate the WNBA, for those of you that think it's bad product, for those of you that think it's a corrosive force in American culture, I'm not arguing with you. I'm explaining to you that what's going on in the WNBA is what's going on in American society. We're taking inferior product and pretending that it's the same as the old high quality product. We've injected people that have hormonal imbalances at the drop of a hat, that have menstrual cycles once a month, that are more controlled by their feelings than logic and data. We've injected them into all sorts of leadership positions, and we're wondering why our institutions are weak and failing us. Well, look at the WNBA. Look at, and many of you will sit here and think Whitlock just hates women. No, I don't. I understand them, and I'm trying to understand them, and I'm trying to understand and explain to you all what their injection to leadership in every aspect of American culture, there are consequences for that. Men and women are not the same. This show comes from a biblical worldview. I come from a biblical worldview. These aren't my thoughts and feelings. You may think I'm just a sexist pig. No, I'm someone that believes what's in the Bible, and I have a biblical worldview, and that men are meant for leadership in a well-run, law and order, orderly society. If we turn it over to women, or if we share this leadership position with women, you're going to lose order. You're inviting chaos. You're making your children vulnerable. And you can see all this by examining what's happening in the WNBA and how women, when given power and leadership positions, it devolves into what you're seeing in the WNBA. And you could sit there and say, well, that's because that league, that's a bunch of angry lesbian black women. No, it's not. That's not who's actually running the league. They are in the league, they're working in cahoots with other women, and you have chaos in the WNBA. You have delusion. You have a group of people moving away from truth because that's not what women do. And so you'll say, well, men do the same thing. Yes, they do. But we used to do a lot less of it before many of us cut off our bat and balls and handed it over to women. Before many of us started simping for women. Men used to lead primarily in this country, and there was more order. There was less chaos. Children were less vulnerable. And you go, oh, that's not true. Oh, was abortion as rampant 60 years ago? All of this improvement that we've allegedly had. All of the, don't you understand how horrible those people were in the past? They were racist. Did they murder babies at the drop of a hat? Did they treat Planned Parenthood abortion facilities like they were McDonald's drive-thrus? That you just, let me just pull up and kill a baby and then drive home like it's no big deal? Children are far more vulnerable now with these destructed family situations. There's less supervision of children. So now there's more sexual molestation of children. Children left unsupervised will be preyed upon, and they will prey upon each other. That's the society we've created through suffrage, through, hey, men and women are just the same, and we should enter into a 50-50 partnership as it relates to leadership. Let me get to my jumping off point, because I don't want to, I told Steve Kim we'd get to him 45 minutes after the start of the show, and if I just keep going and going and going, it will be an hour and 45 minutes, but let me get to my jumping off point. Cathy Engelbert is the commissioner of the WNBA. And I just want to, this is what women do. This is the difference between men and women. When men are blessed with some incredible athletic talent, when some superstar athlete, a Michael Jordan comes along, a Joe Louis comes along, a Muhammad Ali, a Jack Johnson, a Jackie Robinson, we end up falling in line and taking advantage of Jackie Robinson or Muhammad Ali or whatever, Larry Bird, whatever athlete. There may be some initial friction. Hey, we're racist and we don't like Jackie Robinson. But we soldier through that and we're like, man, Jackie Robinson's brought a whole new fan base to Major League Baseball. This is actually good for society. This is good for competition. And yes, there's some initial friction, but we don't destroy Major League Baseball. We don't destroy the Michael Jordan when he appears in the NBA. David Stern and those guys, they were like, hey, how do we take advantage of Michael Jordan? How do we install rules that protect Michael Jordan? Because he can carry us to greatness. He can carry us to more riches. Back in the early 1900s, and Jack Johnson, we don't want him to be heavyweight champion of the world. He's black, and the heavyweight champion of the world needs to be white. It's a symbol of white supremacy. But when they started making money with Jack Johnson, it's like, well, we'll deal with Jack Johnson. We'll make money with Jack Johnson. And we'll turn around and the next great heavyweight, Joe Louis, we'll make money with him. That's what men do. They bow to logic and reason eventually. Women, not so much, not so easily. Caitlin Clark has come along and blessed the WNBA, a league that has been in free fall for 28 years, 29 years, living off the tit and the welfare of men. They get blessed with Caitlin Clark, and the commissioner of the league, the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, she pens a 2,600-word column in the Harvard Business Review, giving herself credit for the rise of the WNBA in the last 12 months. A 2,600-word story that she wrote about the rise of the WNBA. She mentions Caitlin Clark twice in passing in a 2,600-word explanation of why the WNBA has risen. This is women. This is delusion. This is a false narrative being written by the commissioner of the WNBA that ignores that Caitlin Clark is 98.9% of the reason the league has elevated in the past year, if not 100%. You can't tell the story of the growth of the WNBA without spending an inordinate amount of time and energy and words and explanation, all centered around Caitlin Clark. The commissioner of the WNBA, a woman, figured out a way to do it in the Harvard Business Review, no less. This is Caitlin Clark derangement. The commissioner of the league has it. Everybody else in the league has it. They get gifted the greatest thing in sports, Caitlin Clark, and they'd rather destroy it, not acknowledge it, diminish it, take credit for themselves, rather than celebrate and explain this gift and ask themselves, how can we get more? This is women. They do not work together as well as men. Call me a sexist pig all you want, but I'm right. Men believe teamwork makes the dream work. Women believe scheme work makes the dream work. And so they're all scheming on how they can get credit and attention for what Caitlin Clark has brought. I saw this story in the Harvard Business Review because I'm on the email list and I'm a subscriber to Ethan Strauss. And he did a very good breakdown of the delusion of this article. I went and read the article myself and found several things in here just fascinating and just, I just want to unpack some of the quotes or the things that Cathy Engelbert wrote, and it was like from word go, this article was delusional. And it's an example to me of like women live in a delusional state where they are always the star of whatever movie, whatever scene they're in. They are the driving force. It would be, if I came on this show and talked about my high school football team that was nationally ranked, won the state championship, finished number 9 in the country. And let's say I spent 20 minutes talking about my high school team. And I spent 90 seconds of that 20 minutes talking about Jeff George, our quarterback. And I spent the other, what did I say, 90 seconds? The other 18 minutes and 30 seconds talking about myself. That would be delusional. We finished 14-0, nationally ranked, because we had a transcendent, once-in-a-generation talented quarterback named Jeff George. And whether I like it or not, and this isn't gas, this isn't exaggeration, I was the second best player on that team, the second most important player on that team. There was no running game without me. There was very little leadership without me. And that's not me hyping myself up. Those are just facts. But Jeff George drove the bus. Jeff George was an incredible talent. I'm not so delusional that I would sit here and tell the story of my high school football team. I wouldn't tell the story of my college football team without mentioning Bernie Parmalee and Tim Walton and Eugene Riley and all these other guys that I played with that were our quarterback, David Riley, that was the MVP of the conference. But women will make themselves the star. So Cathy Engelbert probably has 1% to do with the growth of the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark has 90% to do, 98% to do with the growth of the WNBA. But here's how her story starts out. By nearly every metric, 2024 was a standout year for Women's National Basketball Association. As transcendent rookies Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink entered the league, regular season games drew an average of 1.2 million viewers, up 170% from the previous season, and our All-Star game brought in an all-time high of 3.4 million, triple that of the 2023 event. We saw the highest arena attendance in 22 years, with every team posting at least double-digit year-on-year growth, and we set records for social media engagement with more than 2 billion views across platforms, merchandise sales, and media and sponsor revenues. This woman threw Caitlin Clark's name out there like she was the equal of Angel Reese and Cameron Brink. Cameron Brink got injured 3, 4, 5 games into the season. And Cameron Brink's she's about as attractive as a 6'6" woman can be. And she was nice because she dressed well on draft night. But in terms of people buying tickets and people viewing games, she had no impact. Angel Reese, with her made-up, ginned-up rivalry with Caitlin Clark, maybe she had a little impact, but she was the 7th pick in the draft because wise people realized, like, hey, this woman can't shoot. She's not going to be able to get her shot off. And if they did any interviewing with her LSU teammates, Maryland teammates, anybody that's coached Angel Reese, they're like, oh, this woman is going to be a headache and a problem in the locker room. She has very little to no self-awareness. And so she went 7th. Anybody with a brain knows the draft coverage, attendance, merchandise sale, this is all Caitlin Clark. But this woman starts out an article, Caitlin Clark, she starts it out with a lie. And then later into the story, Cathy Engelbert then says, to new followers and outside observers, our organization's success might seem overnight and even lucky, propelled by a singularly exceptional group of college players coming to the WNBA at a time when the public has finally developed an appreciation for women's basketball. However, we could not have capitalized on those advantages without years of hard work and preparation. This is delusion. There wasn't a singular group of players. There was a singular player, and they lucked into it. They were blessed into it. That's the truth. So you wonder why we're living in this age of delusion and false narrative? We have forced women everywhere in the media space. We have forced women everywhere in leadership positions. And they create false narratives that glorify themselves. I'm not saying men aren't capable of that. We are, and we do. And primarily it's become in vogue for men to do that because we have been programmed through this whole movement of uplift and forcing a woman's perspective on everything. We've been driven by the matriarchy to think and behave like women. So men now act like women, and we seek glory for ourselves like women. That has not been the history of America. That is not what made America great. Men sacrificing themselves for the betterment of others. That had been the ideal, what sports tried to champion and promote. Sacrifice for the good of the team. That's what men's sports and sports used to be about. Now that we've injected women into this, Title IX and all, we got to elevate women's sports any and everywhere. Now it's completely and all about individual glory. LeBron James, what's the difference between LeBron James and Michael Jordan in terms of mindset? Just think, They have videos. We've seen them. They've been promoted of Michael Jordan talking about, hey, are you the greatest player of all time? I'll never say that. I didn't play against the guys that played before me. I'm not going to say anything to diminish what they did during their time. That was Michael Jordan's mentality. He was not a feminized man. He grew up in a different time and a different era. He grew up with both parents. He was discipled by a father. He understood he doesn't have to celebrate himself in order to be celebrated. He doesn't believe that there's anything to be gained by celebrating himself. LeBron James, on the other hand, has set on his own television show and anywhere else he could be. I became the greatest of all time when we came back from a 3-1 deficit against the Golden State Warriors. His whole life, his extended career, his forcing his son into the NBA has been all about crafting a narrative that he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He completely departed from the mindset and the idea and the behavior that everybody else in generations before him, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, they all had a little bit of the, or a lot of the mentality that Michael Jordan, they didn't have to celebrate themselves. They didn't have to seek glory. Their performance would deliver glory. And they didn't have to diminish the people before them to elevate themselves. Those were real men in comparison to the very feminized men that we have now that have no idea that they're even acting like women. And so it sounds like I'm being very hard on LeBron James. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. What he knows is what his mama taught him and what the modern culture has taught him. Seek to glorify yourself. Be like women. Become an attention whore. And that's what you see in the WNBA constantly. A group of attention whores all fighting for attention, all fighting for credit. And it starts at the very top. The commissioner of the league is writing a 2,600-word story glorifying herself and diminishing the obvious fact that Caitlin Clark has temporarily changed the WNBA. They're going to destroy it because women don't work well together. Women aren't builders. They're not natural sacrificers. They will sacrifice for their child, the one that grew in their womb. And they'll do that temporarily. Not for life, but temporarily. It's not in their nature. That's not a knock on them. That's not calling them evil and wicked. It's calling them women that deal with hormonal imbalances, that come into this world knowing that just by their physical nature, they're more vulnerable. It creates a fear. When you're more feeble, your bones aren't as dense, you're not as heavy, you're not as strong. There's a apex predator called man out there. And you're not one of them. They don't work well together. And so I'm just, as you hear me talk and why I'm so fascinated by the Caitlin Clark story and what's transpiring in the WNBA, it's because I believe you can look at it and see what's happening in the rest of American culture as we continue to elevate, empower women. And we have to buy into all these delusions. And we have to lie to ourselves. Hey, this is better. Things haven't changed. This is much better for our daughters. This is much better for our children, that both parents are out in the workforce, that no one's actually raising and discipling children, that there are no gender roles. This is much better. We're lying to ourselves. It's not much better. It's far worse. And you can see it in the They've been given a great gift in Caitlin Clark, and the players, the coaches, and the executives will destroy this league and destroy Caitlin Clark before they allow this to continue. It's women. It's women. I'm going to give you another example of this, and it's connected, although you won't see the connection until I explain it. Delano yesterday texted me a video of a woman that's running for president of the National Association of Black Journalists. And again, it's like, well, why are you bringing this into it? Because I just want to show you the nature of women and want to show you where we're headed, where we're at, and that more of this is going to lead to the destruction of men and to the destruction of an orderly society. So let's play, what side is it? Oh, yeah, side number one. This is the video this woman put together to be president of the National Association of Black Journalists. This is clearly a woke organization. Anyway, play the clip.
Hey, y'all. I'm Erin Haynes, editor-at-large for the 19th, with an exciting announcement. So the National Association of Black Journalists is turning 50, and I'm running to be the next president because I want to make sure that we honor our legacy by building what's next. Our industry is in crisis, and the truth is under attack. And Black journalists need advocacy, protection, and power now more than ever. As your next president, I'll lead with bold advocacy to defend press freedom and amplify our voice before the next crisis hits, with next-gen innovation to launch incubators and editorial labs for the future of journalism, and with creative fundraising to bring new partners and new dollars into our mission. NABJ has shaped me. I've been mentored by our elders and lifted by our members, and I'm still committed to the future that we are building. I'm running for president not just to serve, but to connect, to create, and to convene, to make sure that NABJ remains a force for freedom, for the field, and for the next 50 years. But this isn't just about me. This is about our story, our moment, and our future. So let's move forward together.
I'm going to have to probably explain it to you. Some of you may have caught it yourself. This woman is running to be the president of NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. She's just put together a video promoting herself. There's not one man in it. Her vision of leadership does not include men, doesn't include black men. If she were to include a black man in her video, it would likely be George Floyd, a dead black man. Because that's the only black man that these black feminists actually celebrate and honor and enjoy and respect, a dead black man. They can get behind. Any of their Trayvon Martin's dead? Let's rally behind. Michael Brown's dead? Let's rally behind him. Ahmaud Arbery dead? Let's rally behind him. Black Lives Matter. There's a dead black man. Let's honor and celebrate him. Let's build trophies and statues. But alive, functioning black men, not remotely part of their vision. It sounds like I'm being hypercritical of them. No, I'm actually telling you as men, take the scales off your eyes. Women are not going to build a society that benefits us in any way. I'm sure there are white men watching this video that's like, yeah, these white female feminists, they're the exact same way. They're not thinking about, hey, how do we build a society that works for men and women? They're thinking about how do they build a society that works for women. I'm not calling women our enemies. They're not. They're intended to be our helpmeets. They were made for us. But they're well outside their roles. And we've allowed this. We have allowed this. They cannot do this without us allowing it. There are black men who are journalists, have been for many, many years. The greatest black journalists have been men. They're building an association, and she's campaigning to be president of that association that does not build anything, has no concerns about black men. It's not what women do. They don't make sacrifices for men. They don't respect men that they have to make sacrifices for. Nor should they. It's not their role. They're not leaders because they have a vision for themselves, and that is it. Why do you think they're so comfortable and defensive about abortion? If there's a child that they've spread their legs and invited into the world because they have no sexual discipline, and they get with knuckleheaded dudes that have no sexual discipline, refuse to wear a condom, so retarded that they won't wear a condom, they'll kill the baby. This is in my way. I will kill this baby so that I can have what I want. Think of men in the history of men and how many men have sacrificed their lives so that others can live free, others can live in a safe environment, others can enjoy progress that the men that sacrificed and died knew they would not see. Whether they were misguided or not, the men that go off to war and know, like, it's probably a 75% chance I'm storming the beaches of Normandy, good 75, 80% chance I'm going to die. That's not what women do. Women kill to save themselves, babies. Men will kill to benefit humanity. And that's an oxymoron, but that is what they believe. They write battle hymns about it. They sing songs on these killing fields where they know I'm probably gonna die, and I hope the people behind me that I'm dying for benefit from this. Women go to an abortion clinic, kill a baby, and say, I hope I benefit from killing this baby. This is the mentality. I'm not criticizing them. I'm not trying to be unfair to them. I'm trying to wake you up to what it is we're dealing with and why we should be hesitant about, like, man, should we just turn everything over to women? Do they think the same as us? Are their instincts, is their nature the same as us? And well, it's too late. Toothpaste is out of the bottle. If it's too late and the toothpaste is out of the bottle and it can't go back in, prepare for more death. Prepare for more destruction. Prepare for more chaos. What you're seeing in the WNBA, that chaos, that Caitlin Clark derangement, that, hey, we'd rather build something that collapses in on itself than actually benefits the league and all the players and all of humanity. When you see people out rioting and looting and burning down businesses in their own communities, that's what the matriarchy smells like. It's a reflection of how feminine that culture is. That matriarchal culture, It's a female energy. I'd rather burn it all down than build something life-giving and sustainable. Want to connect one last dot here. Could you, this is what women are tolerating. And I know there are some, Jennifer Say and Riley Gaines and Sage Steele and Michelle Tafour, but there are women out here, Megan Kelly, fighting for female sports and the protection of female athletes. I get it, they're out there. Here's the step, and the names I just rattled off, I love them, I respect them, I like that they're in the fight. But here's the level they won't go to in order to protect women's sports. Hey, you know what? I got to get out of this leadership stuff and just make sure I'm supporting men, because men are the only people that will draw a line in the sand and be like, well, I don't care that your feelings are hurt. Men are gatekeepers when we're in our right mindset. We'll draw a line in the sand, dare you to cross it, won't care. You can cry them crocodile tears you want, but I ain't going there. Women don't do that. And that's how you end up. There's some man, young boy, doing fast pitch softball at the high school level and destroying women. And this is, they're allowing men, boys, into women and girls sports, and women are tolerating this. There's a handful. There's the volleyball team. Was it San Jose State? Did they have the player? Or there's a handful of women's teams that are like, hey, I ain't playing. I'd rather forfeit the game than play against this man. Hats off to them. But that should be so widespread. There shouldn't be a woman that would line up at a track meet, that would line up in a softball game, that would line up in a volleyball match against a man. It's like, we ain't doing that. This isn't for you. You have a bat and balls. Go compete against men. And I don't care how feminine you feel. You got a bat and balls. You got don't men have XY chromosomes and women have XX? You got the wrong chromosomes. But here's some tall boy out here mowing down female softball players, back-to-back shutout games. Women, the returning, defending state champions couldn't get a run off this boy. Women are allowing this. Play the clip.
That one was high and hot. Swing and a miss.
She reared back and unleashed one.
See how she whips it? The long arms is just such an advantage. The way Rothenberger is pitching, it might as well be 8-0 or something right now.
Mm-hmm. But wow.
The whip action of that long arm for Rothenberger.
They're allowing that. Other girls are so stupid on that team that they're celebrating with that boy as he destroys women's sports. This is women. They'd rather have the glory than, you know what? I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to accept this state championship. I'm not going to beat up a group of girls because we allowed some 6'2" boy to come over here and pitch softball for us. Not women. Those women that are out there celebrating as that dude pumps the floor, does whatever he was doing on the floor. I'm going to get some picture that I can put on Instagram of me winning a state championship. I'd rather have that picture and I'd rather have the social media content than stand for something. Men and women are different. I'm going to continue to track the Caitlin Clark story, and the WNBA and all of it because it is a way for me to remind you all that the insanity that we see in the WNBA is pervasive throughout American culture. They're actually using the WNBA to promote the insanity that's pervasive throughout the country. This, yes. Do I watch the WNBA and some of you don't? And just quit talking about, if we just ignore it, the problem will go away. That's not how life works. That's not how things end. You must put a spotlight on the insanity. Only light can drive out darkness. You turning your back and just put it, what is it? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, put your hands over your eyes, put fingers in your ears. I pretend like it'll go away if I just pretend. No, it won't. This is planned and orchestrated. This is a controlled demolition. Women are leading it. We're allowing it. Before we get to Steve Kim and some other conversations, I want to remind you all this weekend, you can go out and check out Angel Studios' latest new movie, The Last Rodeo. Angel Studios is the group that's brought you The King of Kings, The Sound of Freedom, movies that support our biblical worldview. They've got another one about an old rodeo rider that gets back in the saddle for his grandson to save his grandson. It's a tremendous movie. It's an uplifting movie. It'll probably, if you got a heart, it'll bring you to tears. It's in theaters across this country. Here's how you can get tickets. Angel.com/Jason. That's angel.com/Jason. Really want you to go see this movie. It's been out for a little more than a week. It's an awesome movie. Go check it out. Steve Kim, Korean Cosell. Next. We look at the LGBTQ community and say, how did they get so out of line, out of hand? Why are they shoving their sexuality down our face? Why do they want to gyrate in front of our kids? Why do they want to have talks with kids at school about sexuality? Those of us that are heterosexual, we've shoved our heterosexuality down everyone's throat. You can't watch a movie without a sex scene. You can't go to a comedy show without people talking about sex. We've so put it in everyone's face, our heterosexuality. Well, there's an equal and opposite reaction to everything. And so the gays, they want to center their sexuality. And we can point our fingers at them and we can scold them, but we need to look in the mirror and say, what sexual identity have we thrown in their face when we should be throwing Jesus Christ in their face?
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you restlessly that you are 배불러 So fly.
All right, welcome back. Steve Kim. I'm back on my favorite topic. You know I love talking Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. You're in Las Vegas. What are you in Las Vegas for?
There's a fight tonight being presented by Golden Boy, some prospects I want to take a look at, had some meetings. And even though, I don't cover boxing as closely as I once did, Jason, it's still important to get out there, see the people, connect with some of the people in the industry, had a good dinner with a couple of people that are important in the business. And, it's really a business trip, believe it or not. There's actually another card tomorrow night presented by the PBC, and I'll be watching that from home. I'm coming home, probably going to leave tomorrow morning at about 6:30 a.m.
Gotcha. Well, I want to drag you into my latest Caitlin Clark discussion. I'm going to use Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright to do it as well. I want to play you this clip. Cowherd and Wright are coming around to my point of view. They're a little late. They're a little slow. They're still behind the conversation. But here they are arguing that Caitlin Clark is the biggest star in basketball other than Steph Curry and LeBron James. Play the clip.
How many NBA players are more famous than Caitlin Clark? LeBron, Steph, absolutely.
Maybe Durant.
That's what I wrote down. KD, maybe. Outside of LeBron and Steph, she is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States.
Yes. And I don't think that's close. I think I might have said this to you last year, that I thought the most famous basketball player under 30 was Caitlin Clark. I don't think it's particularly close. She is demonstrably and inarguably more famous than all of this generation's NBA stars.
Steve, agree, disagree with Cowherd and or Nick Wright?
I'm surprised Nick Wright was allowed to say that. But anyway, in terms of what they said, and you were ahead of the curve, I got to give you credit. They're absolutely correct. We're not talking about skill level. We're not talking about any of that stuff. But there is no player in American team professional sports that has the importance of Caitlin Clark to the WNBA. Think about it. When LeBron James gets eliminated, which is now becoming the tradition of the NBA playoffs in round one, I would say at least 2/3 of NBA and basketball fans are either overjoyed or they're relieved. Steph Curry loses. It's like, it's unfortunate, but we'll move on. And it's really interesting. The discussion about the NBA playoffs is all about, man, do we really want to see this small market against this small market? And I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of perverse in a sense that most of these people will then tell you the league is fixed every time the Lakers are in the playoffs and make it to the finals. I think it's an interesting discussion. But there's never been one player that when they go down for an extended period of time, that 98.3% of that interest absolutely evaporates. And I'm just telling you, based on what I've seen, what I know, those fans that are part of that 98.4%, I don't think they have any issues holding off, going on a hiatus, and when Caitlin Clark is back on the court, just resuming their viewership of that league.
See, I think there's a reluctance. This is where I disagree with Cowherd and Wright. There seems to be this reluctance just to say the full truth, that Caitlin Clark is the most impactful and important athlete in America today. I don't think we need any of these qualifiers under 30 in comparison to LeBron or Steph. I'm telling you, if Steph Curry lined up to sign autographs at one end of the street and Caitlin Clark lined up to sign autographs at the other end of the street, I know which one's going to have the longest line. Same goes for Caitlin Clark versus LeBron James. I know which one is going to have the longest line, and it's not close.
Wow. You know, the impact of Caitlin Clark is this, that when LeBron James, after the opening game, tweeted, "Great game, way to go," oh, he felt the heat. Oh, he felt the heat, and he became demonized. I'm not so sure any other athlete has that type of impact. And Jason, you're talking about that commissioner that wrote that article, basically patting herself on the back. Can we be honest about this? This is like the blast to my childhood, 1984 Rams, when Eric Dickerson had over 2,100 yards, still the NFL rushing record. That is like a guy like Dwayne Crutchfield or Barry Redden. They were the backup running back saying, you know what? We were a great rushing team. I was part of a running back room that was one of the greatest rushing attacks in National Football League history. Yeah, basically it was Dickerson. Let's be honest about it. And I am not kidding when I say this, and I'll give myself credit. I said last year that if the WNBA gets a new logo, we know who it should be, Caitlin Clark.
I'm going to double back on this, Steve, because you're as reluctant as Cowherd and Nick Wright. I'm going to double back. Steve, I want you to think of it this way. The WNBA is really bad product.
Yes.
I'm just when Angel Reese and her lack of skill is celebrated as a great player. Let's say 25% of the players are covered in god-awful tattoos. There's another high percentage of them that's got these fake eyelashes and bogus wigs hanging off their heads. They cape up for George Floyd and for Black Lives Matter. The players are really unlikable. They're tatted up and look unfeminine, and the skill level isn't widespread enough for the games to be that compelling. Caitlin Clark, one single player, has made this league tolerable and watchable. There's no other athlete. LeBron James, Steph Curry, the NBA was a moving train that they jumped onto. And you could argue LeBron James has slowed the train down and that Steph put a little gas in it and sped it up while LeBron was slowing it down. But this is what Caitlin Clark is doing is more impressive and incredible than what Tiger Woods did for golf, a relatively boring sport, but at least people weren't tatted up looking like they just got out of prison, and at least they weren't expressing all this hatred toward American culture. We've never seen someone pull this bad a product and make it watchable and make it interesting and willing to be discussed.
Well, Jason, we talk about golf. At least the PGA, and I'm not a golf fan, I never got into the Tiger Woods thing, but at least that sport had American icons like Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer, and the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus. So, and I know the WNBA's had players that have been good. No one cared, let's be honest. So let me draw this analogy. The WNBA is that really bad restaurant. I mean, outside, it's got like a C or a D for the health rating. The Yelp ratings are all like 0.9. Nobody really likes to go. But they have this one dish that's really good. The Caitlin Clark meatloaf. Let's say the meatloaf is really good. There's something about that meatloaf. That particular plate of Caitlin Clark is really good. People line up for miles, and all they order is one thing. The Caitlin Clark. Bam, it's great. Everything else that they serve is gruel. Yeah, I said gruel. It gives you food poisoning. You get salmonella. You're on the toilet. You're on that porcelain for an hour. And once they run out of the ingredients for Caitlin Clark and they say, hey, sorry, no Caitlin Clark available, everyone just disappears. That's what the WNBA is. They're that restaurant.
I'm gonna add an extra layer. The food at this WNBA restaurant is cooked by cockroaches, but that damn meatloaf is so good, you still go get it. That's what the WNBA is.
Cooked by, not with cockroaches, cooked by cockroaches.
No, by cockroaches.
Woo,
Anyway, I'm gonna move off of Caitlin Clark here. I want to show you a clip of Greg Doyel, the Indy Star columnist. He had a back and forth with Pascal Siakam, and it reminded me and people of like, hey, he had that back and forth with Caitlin Clark a year ago where he was doing this and making the little love hand signals, and I can't. He ended up getting suspended from covering the Fever all of last year. But Steve, I got to be honest, I don't have a problem. The Pascal Siakam and the Indiana Pacers got beat last night by the New York Knicks. They kind of look lackluster. And Greg Doyel asked a series of questions to Pascal that kind of irritated him. Let's play the clip.
How is that possible?
What do you mean?
How is it possible to not fight hard enough in game?
What are you talking about? They played harder than us. It's okay. We played hard, but they played harder. What's your point? I don't get it.
My point is, you're saying you guys got outfought, and I'm saying
that happens in the game, though. That's basketball.
In game 5, we didn't make playoffs. You're saying
you're good. You're good, bro. You're looking for something. I know. But damn. No. But I'm telling you though. I told you. What else do you want me to tell you?
I want you to tell me how. That's all I'm asking.
Well, what about you tell me? So go ahead. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? What's your name, bro?
Greg Doyel with the Indy Star.
Oh.
You good?
Steve, I don't have a problem with Greg Doyel. I don't have a problem with Pascal Siakam. This is how the sausage used to get made in journalism.
I thought this was a healthy exchange. We need more of this. I thought, look, I will say this about Siakam. The way he handled that was a million times better than the way Greg Popovich acts with the media, just about 99% of the time. I thought he was good-natured about it. And Doyle asked a legitimate question. With an NBA championship on the line, it's a closeout game. Why did you get outfought? I think both guys could probably not hate each other afterwards. But Jason, there is a particular pattern. I was thinking about this. When a team is up 3-1 and they know that they have home games after the fifth game, I've seen blowouts before. I remember the Lakers in 2000, the first year under Phil Jackson, after Kobe bailed out Shaq to take a 3-1 lead. If I remember correctly, I think the Lakers lost by about 40 points in game number 5 at the Conseco. And then you fast forward in 2008, after the Celtics rallied, they were down by 24 at one time to the Lakers in game 4. Down 17 at the half, but they made this great comeback. They were up 3-1. And guess what happened in game 5, Jason? The Lakers played harder than the Celtics because human nature says, let's at least win this game 5 in front of our home folks. And then the Lakers got absolutely blown off the floor in game 6. This is really nothing new with the NBA when it comes to 3-1 leads.
I don't think it's anything new. I think we're so used to people genuflecting in front of these athletes that seeing Greg Doyel kind of stand his ground and seeing Siakam stand his ground. Oh my, Greg Doyel, he's out of line here and he did this. No, man, this is what journalism is supposed to look like. There's supposed to be friction between the athletes, the executives, the coaches, and the media. We're not all supposed to be BFF. And, it's no different. People love to throw up a clip of Kobe Bryant taking a pot shot at me, talking about Jason or something. That's a Bikram yoga stretch, and he's kind of condescending towards me. People love to like I'm embarrassed by it, and I'm not remotely. As many athletes have threatened to beat me up, and many athletes that took their shots at me, all that stuff. It's a badge of honor that I was. I didn't kiss their rear end. I occasionally irritated them. It's not like I was intentionally trying to irritate Kobe. I was just trying to get him to say something interesting. But I'm not a fan of Greg Doyel. I think he's a weirdo, but I don't think he did anything wrong here.
Well, Jason, there's no doubt he's a weirdo. That right now is not even an opinion. That is a point of fact. But we're in such an era where the media kowtows and they act as publicists. I mean, if I hear one more time and I get what they're doing, can you tell me about this? Or a guy will obviously quit and they'll say, I know you're going through a lot. Can you explain all the hardship and the generational trauma that led up to this? Instead of just questioning, hey, why'd you quit? And I think this point has to be brought up. And I give Siakam a lot of credit. I thought he was very good-natured about it. If that line of questioning and that back and forth thing happened in the WNBA to a female player, especially one that was black, there would be 10,000 word think pieces on that. Don't you think, Jason?
Without question, that you can't bully a black woman that way. You can't second guess her. You can't. They'd all wear in alignment or in support of each other. They'd all wear T-shirts. A black woman is talking. Shut up and listen.
Yeah, I mean, Chanae Cronkite, I can only imagine what she would say at that point. I mean, seriously, I'm looking at this going, that used to be normal. If you go back to the 70s and 80s and 90s when you had guys like Peter Vesey, Mark Heisler, they understood one thing. Our jobs are not to be liked. We're not a part of the team. I was taught this long ago, Jason. No matter what sport you cover and no matter what beat you're on, okay? And we're not doing brain surgery here. Nothing we talk about is all that important. But if you are not agitating or flat out pissing off somebody once in a while, you're not doing your job properly.
Final thought question for you before we get into the weekend, Steve, for you anyway. To me, and I could be wrong here, but it seems like last night, some point today, past 24, 48 hours, someone has released this video, this infamous video of LeBron James getting dunked on in a pickup game, and they're saying that Clutch Sports had this video taken away from everybody because it was embarrassing for LeBron James, and I saw it circulated on X last night, this morning. Let's play the clip and big deal, little deal, or no deal. And let's play the highlight of LeBron getting dunked on by, I believe, a college kid named Jordan Crawford.
Just saying I dunked on him, really. Wasn't really nothing else said, too much. Just geeked that dunked on him, and that was it.
Is that kind of like a thing you'll take with you when you go back to school?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. That'll be the first thing I talk about.
Big deal, little deal, no deal. What do you think about people circulating this video? If LeBron and them asked for it to be removed, that seems pretty silly and insecure to me.
Well, I think it's an old deal. I've seen that video before. That video's been out there. That's only like some big release here, okay? That didn't come out of the Al Capone vaults. I saw that years ago. But let's say that is true, that Clutch Sports removed it. What is this, Clutch Sports or the KGB? I mean, that is Stalin-esque trying to remove history. But Jason, this is the reality. To be fair to LeBron, and I get it, maybe it's an embarrassment being dunked on by some unknown college player. If you play basketball at a high level, which means with players that play above the rim, everybody is going to get dunked on. If you go on YouTube right now, there's like a 10-minute compilation of Alonzo Mourning just getting absolutely dunked on numerous times. And he's one of the great rim protectors that's ever been. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But again, it goes to show you, is the cover-up worse than the crime? Because if you just would have let this video play out, it would have been a part of history. No one would have really cared that much. But the fact that there's now a rumor or a report that they tried to expunge this, then it becomes, ironically, Jason, in my view, a bigger story.
Steve, enjoy Las Vegas. Enjoy the fights. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week. You guys don't go anywhere because I got a little comment, some positive things I want to say about Angel Reese. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being sarcastic. I have positive things I want to say about Angel Reese. Before we get to that, I want to make sure you go to fearlessmission.com, use the promo code FEARLESS to save $20 on your annual subscription to everything we do here at Fearless, everything we do at The Blaze. Fearlessmission.com, promo code FEARLESS. It's the most important thing you can do today. Support me, support Blaze, support everything we're doing here. We need you on board. All right, when I come back, you're not going to believe it. I'm going to be praising Angel Reese. Next. Let's deal with the elephant in the room, the question that white people watching this are probably having. Brandon, I'll start with you. Are there more N-words than regular black people? Are we outnumbered?
Well, man, you put me on the spot. Some people ain't gonna like what I have to say.
That's what this show does.
I'd say, unfortunately, I think that there's a slight majority that's N-words. I think that it's a dwindling population. And the reason I say this is because you can look at voting and it can be somewhat of a determining factor. You can look at the way black women vote, which is astronomically outrageous in my personal opinion. So with those voting numbers and with things that I see online, even when I was a police officer, I think unfortunately there's a good majority of black people who are like that. And I think that there's a small group of, or not say small group, but just a slight minority group of black people who are with it. Black people who understand politics, black people who love this country and that are willing to stand up on principle.
These words are our religion, no regrets in our decisions. We all want to go to heaven with freedom. It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
All right, welcome back. I can't believe I'm saying this and doing this, but I watch the WNBA, as you guys know, and as we talked about at the top of the show. And last night I watched the fourth quarter of the Chicago Sky, their first victory over the Dallas Wings. It was Angel Reese versus Paige Beckers, two players the WNBA would love to hype up into big stars. There are people out there, Paige Beckers is going to be the best player in the league, and Angel Reese is this and Angel Reese is that, as I told you earlier in the show. But it actually turned into a game about, Carmela Cardosa, I think scored a career high 23 points last night, and the Chicago Sky got their first victory. And I saw a video of people making fun of Angel Reese. That she went 2 of 6 from the field. I think had 9 rebounds, scored 6 points last night, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. People were making fun of Angel Reese. She had a couple of bricks and a couple of shots getting blocked. And this video in particular, let's play the video of her going to the hoop and getting her shot blocked. Let's play that video.
Playing in her 6th game of her WNBA career, Smith blocks Angel and will send it back.
So I saw a couple of different feeds pointing this out. One of them's like, look, here she is with the crossover, and then there was another one talking about here she is with the hezzy, and then womp, 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 she gets her shot blocked. But having watched particularly the fourth quarter of this game, Angel Reese actually showed true progress and self-awareness. She only took 6 shots. I'm not being remotely sarcastic. I'm not saying, thank God she figured out not to shoot. I'm more saying, hey, this is great. She's figured out she's not an offensive player, and she's more of a role player, a rebounder, a distributor, screen setter. And they figured out a way to feed the ball to Cardosa, their 6'7" center, who does have some offensive skills. This is progress. And I want for people to understand where the progress has come from. I'm giving Angel Reese credit, but I also want to give her critics credit. And why I keep saying that criticism is the key to development. And that when you try to protect people from criticism, you're actually giving them arrested development. Why, at least for one night, and at least for any victory, has Angel Reese said, you know what? I'm not some great offensive player. Let me quit forcing shots up. Let me do these other things that help us win. Why is she doing that? Because her critics have been heard. She's gone through the process of getting heated up over social media and people belittling her offensive skills. She can't be in denial of it. She's having to deal with the fact, I'm going to keep forcing these shots up. They're going to keep getting blocked. I'm going to keep missing all of the rim and throwing these bricks up. And therefore, I'm going to give people more ammo to make fun of me over social media. Angel Reese, being smart, is tapping out. Is saying, you know what, I got to adjust my game. We're 0-4 to start the season. We looked uncompetitive. People are starting to rip me and this team. Let me show some self-awareness. Let me adjust my game. Let me play in a way that befits my actual skill set. This is why we have to allow athletes, black, white, whatever color, to be criticized. If we protect them from criticism, if we explain all criticism of them as some form of racism, they then are allowed to ignore their critics and they never adjust and develop. Angel Reese is going through the process. Ryan Clark and all these other people that think it's their job to protect Angel Reese from all criticism and protect all black women from criticism. You're arresting their development. They'll never improve. That's why criticism is a form of love. When people quit criticizing, what they're saying is, I have no faith and belief in you to change and progress. It's why, even when my critics are misguided, I still try to appreciate and understand where they're coming from, because I know, hey, they must have a sincere interest in me. And there's a chance that I may miss something, and they may have caught something that is worthy of me paying attention to that form of criticism. So, Angel Reese, I'm telling you, I'm rooting for you. I really am. And so I hope that you hear the critics, RG3 and others, that are saying like, hey, you have this irrational hate of Caitlin Clark, and you think it serves you. You think it's making you money. And maybe it is making you money, but it's also going to keep you in the crosshairs of irrational critics, and it's also painting a bad image of you. So I hope you listen to those critics as well. The feud, the alleged rivalry with Caitlin Clark, it does not serve you. It serves content creators. It serves racial idolaters. It serves people that want to use you while pretending like they're your BFF and they have your best interest. A Ryan Clark, he gets to make content off of you and the feud between you and Caitlin Clark and her fans. But Angel, you can have a successful WNBA career as a rebounder, as a defensive player, as a facilitator offensively for others, and again, with your tenacity as a rebounder to score some points, have a successful WNBA career. You've already got a brand that people are paying attention to, but ending the feud with Caitlin Clark would serve Angel Reese best. If she pivoted and went the other route of, hey, you know what? I want to be a supporter. I want to compete against Caitlin Clark, but I also want to show respect and appreciation and love for Caitlin Clark. That would serve Angel Reese best in the long run. Her popularity, and Caitlin Clark's, and I'm not calling Caitlin Clark an angel because she's not, but Caitlin Clark's instincts, the way she's wired, she'd rather help everybody, including Angel Reese, than be at war with Angel Reese. It would be a big win for Angel Reese, the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, and everybody involved if Angel Reese raised the white flag on her war with Caitlin Clark and embraced Caitlin Clark. That would be even more progress for Angel Reese. That's all we have today. No show on Harmony today. Enjoy your weekend. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on the corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be, I just want